The most famous tiger in the world is the Champavat tigress, which has killed 436 people. It is listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the most bloodthirsty of all man-eating tigers. The Champavat tiger is a female Bengal tiger that was a cannibal in her lifetime. From the late 1890s to 1907, she killed 436 people in Nepal and the Kumaon region of India. No one knew why the tigress began attacking people. Her attacks began all of a sudden. People walking through the jungle began disappearing by the dozens at once. Hunters and soldiers from the Nepalese army were sent to fight the tigress. They did not manage to shoot or capture the predator, but the soldiers were able to drive the tigress out of Nepal into Indian territory. The man-eating tigress began her bloody activities at the very end of the 19th century in Nepal, where more than 200 people became her victims. The tigress operated in the jungle, ambushing locals, and was not afraid even to attack large groups of people, about 10 people. A number of Nepalese hunters had tried to kill the tigress, but she had eluded all ambushes and traps. Eventually the situation escalated to the point where the Nepalese army simply went after the tigress. The soldiers also failed to kill or capture the tigress, but they managed to drive her into neighboring India, where the cannibal continued her bloody feast. After killing more than 200 people in Nepal, the tigress, pursued by the Nepalese army, moved on to Kumaon, where she continued to attack people. She was so brave that she roamed the roads around the villages, terrorizing the locals, and often tried to break into their huts. After she mauled a 16-year-old girl during the day, she was shot by Jim Corbett. Examination showed missing upper and lower canines from the right side of her mouth. In Kumaon, India, a tigress became so bold that even in broad daylight she would wander around local villages and roar loudly, intimidating locals. Often she tried to break into this or that hut, sometimes successfully. Quite quickly, all work activities in the villages of Kumaon were paralyzed. Everyone holed up in their homes, and the bravest briefly left the shelter, but immediately returned when they heard the furious roar of the guest from Nepal. In India, numerous pilgrims to nearby shrines and locals caught by the tigress in the street or at home have fallen prey to the tigress. A man-eating tigress was killed by cannibal hunter Jim Corbett in 1907, near the Indian town of Champavat. This was preceded by the fact that the tigress caught up with and killed a 16-year-old girl right in town, and then escaped, leaving behind a trail of blood and torn human limbs. Jim Corbett followed this trail after the cannibal, and after 24 hours of pursuit he was able to find and kill the Champlain tigress. Corbett held the rank of colonel in the British Indian Army, and was repeatedly invited by the United Provincial Government to destroy tiger and leopard man-eaters in the Garhwal and Kumaon regions. For his success in saving the inhabitants of the region from man-eating beasts, he earned the respect of the inhabitants, many of whom regarded him as a sadhu, a saint. After the skinning of the Tuk tiger ogre, Jim Corbett found 2 old gunshot wounds in her body, one of which, in the shoulder, had become septic and, Corbett speculated, was the cause of the beast becoming an ogre. Analysis of the skulls, bones, and hides of cannibals showed that many of them suffered